Yeah, so they're back to back, and she sang to him, and their backs they softened together, and she told him one last story because she knew that he needed a little more. And the only reason she started to tell this story, she sort of got it a little bit wrong. She kind of launched, I mean, I don't know if you relate to this, but you know, recently I had a encounter with a man. You see, not everyone's making it, you know, their assumptions as to what that means. Basically means we said hello. We said hello, and then I was like, you know, whipping away like candy floss. You know how you put that stick in, and then suddenly there's like a massive thing of candy floss. Can be a little bit like that. I have to just like pull myself back down and be like, are you actually attracted to him? What actually is going on for you? You know, I have to do that. And so they had this moment where their backs touched like this, and she was like, oh, and started telling the story about the woman having children, and the girl was really, really beautiful, and their life was amazing and everything, and then she could just feel the stiffness. And she was like, oh, right, fucked it up again. No, I can reclaim this. And she said, yeah, but the son was pig ugly. No, that wasn't the right thing to say. The son was pig ugly and really stupid. No. Okay. So, and his back was coming further away from her, and she was like, okay, I've got to bring him around. But, however, and then she went into this kind of self-depreciating place, you know, it's like, however, the mum, you know, she was a witch, she was a right old witch, it was a pickle, it was an absolute pickle. She's like, but attractive still, and very powerful, and blah, blah, blah. And so she decided that she would, and she remembered the Crescent Moon Bear story and the old crone in that story, and she pulled that character down into the story so that she could carry on telling. She was like, well, she decided that she could make a potion that would make her son be radiant, and determined she was to do this. And so she started to make this potion bright, and she went at all seasons. She would go out in all seasons, and the call of a snowdrop she would put in tenacity, and then she would put in the leaf of a wild garlic spice, and then she pulled in the elderflower light, dance and magic, and then when those flowers went berry red, she pulled those in, a bit of darkness and juice. And all through the season she went making this concoction that she was sure was going to make her son radiant. And it began to really need stirring, because as you know, all good magic needs to stay in movement. And so she asked a boy who she trusted, he'd been a servant for her and her giant husband a long time, to stir it. And she gave him out, don't you touch it, don't you touch it, don't you touch it, don't touch it, do not touch it. And he's like, yeah, don't even touch it. No, I'm just stirring, yeah, yes you are. And so she could go away and gather more things. And it was only the first 3 drops of this potion that had the real power. The rest of it was kind of goo. I was going into this altered universe then. I was like, what is happening? You know, it's like, exactly. So there's like this 3 drops that's totally magic, but the rest of it's kind of metallic and disgusting. Yeah, and so, but he doesn't know what it is. As far as he's concerned, it's liquid potato soup. She hasn't told him nothing. And he's stirring, it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter. It's like bubbling up, you know. It's bubbling up, and then why don't you wish that it would do that? Sometimes, you know, I don't know, maybe you can get your soup to do that. You know, pop up like that as if you're on, it's, you know, kind of really hot. Although I did go out with a chef once, and he said with soup, the motto was, you boil, you spoil. So anyway, he thought definitely not soup because it was really boiling. It was really boiling, and he's kind of like stirring it and carabins off, and 3 drops just spurt out, and they get him on the hand, and before he's even thought about it, he's like, and maybe she won't even notice. Maybe she won't even notice, but then there's this like grrr sound, like a kind of giant mobile phone vibrating, and it starts in the cauldron, it's just like, it's like, oh no, she's going to notice that, she's really going to notice that, and then the cauldron just cracks open completely, and all the stuff, I know, tragedy, jeopardy, this is the moment of jeopardy, and he's like, oh no, I'm going to get into loads of trouble, but he finds himself, he goes to run away, and in that action of running away, he turns into a dog, and he's just like running and running and running like one of those really fast dogs, greyhound or whippet or something, running and running and running. She's like, she's got it in, but she is like, she is after him. She's up on her broomstick and she is after him, and she comes down. He's like, well, she's gonna get me, she's gonna get me, she's gonna get me, and he just like jumps in to the water, and he becomes a little fish, and he's swimming and swimming and swimming and swimming and swimming. And she is not stupid. She changes herself into an otter, and your otters have got teeth, yeah? So she's there with her teeth just ready to get him, and she's much, much faster than him, and he's always catching her. I don't know if you can imagine just like being a fish and just feeling something on your tail like that, just so close to you, so close to you, so close to you, and he just does this action like up and up. He goes and turns into a bird, and yes, it's a small bird, but it flies, and he's like out, 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 out of the way, and he's just beginning to feel like, wow, this is amazing. When she's turned herself into a hawk, and she dives, and he's quite fast actually, and he's got the hang of it, but they are swooping and swirling and swooping and swirling. They are fighting in the sky and turning and tumbling, and then he just sees this huge pile of corn, and he knows what he needs to do, and he just drops himself and changes into a single piece of corn in this thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces of corn. And she lands. And as she lands, she turns into a hen. She's like, I've gotcha. And she eats every little bit of that corn. Makes her feel quite sick, actually. Quite constipated. Do you know that you can't actually, human beings can't actually digest corn? It comes out, as we've all noticed, it comes out bright yellow when you poo. Which she'd done a lot of, I have to say. She'd done a lot of, it wasn't making her feel any better. And then there was that kind of feeling like, just so tired all the time. And grumpy. Oh my God, like quick, you know, like quick to react. She didn't know what was wrong with her. And then she did. She realised she was pregnant.